Hey everybody, it's another episode of Today in Music. I'm Mike Alexander. I'm standing in front of my CD collection. I'm going to take a look around here and show you that it's a rather vast closet filled with music. It goes on and it goes on. My wife says I buy too much music. I disagree. And in fact, that is just a small sampling of the music that I have in my house. I am a Luddite. I like collecting music in CD form. I like having something to hold in my hand. I also have a lot of vinyl. And obviously, like everyone today, I download a lot of music, which is great. It's like instant, access to great music, but I never feel like I really own it, Anyhow, so today I wanted to tell you about music festivals. And my wife and I go to a number of these things. We've been to Desert Trip. We went to Classic West last summer. We've been to New Orleans Jazz Fest a few times. And in April, we're going to Stagecoach, which is a show that, I don't know, I honestly sort of wonder why I'm going. I'm not a huge fan of country music. And it's, I don't know, it's like Garth Brooks, Florida Georgia Line, Keith Urban. I'm sure it's going to be, lovely, but maybe not as fantastic as seeing Bob Dylan and The Who and The Stones and yada yada all in one fell swoop. Anyhow, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was looking at the lineup for Stagecoach is how I'm familiar with a number of the headliners. I know Garth Brooks, I know Trisha Yearwood, I know Keith Urban. I mean, I'm familiar with them as artists. I don't know all their music. And there are always these smaller acts on these other stages that are performing throughout the day. And a lot of times that's where the magic happens at these festivals. It's not necessarily the headliners whose songs you know by heart, but it's the new discoveries. And that's one of my things about listening to new music every day. It keeps you, alert, it keeps you fresh, it keeps you with a finger on the pulse of what's happening in popular music. As an example, so I was going through this lineup for Stagecoach, and there were all these bands that I'd never heard of. So how do you instantly familiarize yourself with a bunch of new acts? Well, you go onto iTunes, or I do, and you can, type in their name, call up, any number of songs that they do, and you can listen to like 10-second excerpts and quickly assess whether you like them or not. And I went through that a couple of nights ago. It took like 2 hours, a little obsessive. But in the end, I decided that there were 5 new acts that I enjoyed, in my 10-second audition excerpts. And so I plunked down my money to Amazon, and I got the CDs, and here they are. So we've got Banditos, we have Paul Cawthon, Jason Isbell, Brothers Osborne, and Jade Jackson. And these are all people I had never heard of before and had not, probably would not have discovered their music had it not been for the fact that I'm going to Stagecoach, they're on the lineup, I wanted to know more. And anyhow, now they're on my little itinerary on the Stagecoach app. And one thing I wanted to do is maybe give you a little listen of one of these bands, Banditos specifically. If I was more technically adept, I would have better control over this, but check this out. Kind of awesome rockabilly, I think. Anyway, it reminds me a little of Imelda May, if you know her. She's a British rockabilly singer. Anyway, that's the Banditos, and that is my band of the day because they're fresh. This is their first album, first and only album. It just came out, I think, a few weeks ago. And undiscovered, I think, probably by a national audience. I don't know how many copies of this album have sold so far, but the fact they're on the lineup at Stagecoach gives them a lot of cred. So that's my recommendation for the day, Banditos. And my other recommendation, obviously, the point of this whole show today, listen to new music every day. Even if it's just going on to Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon Music or whatever your subscription might be, there are a million ways to, like, if you like this kind of music, maybe you'll like this kind of music. If you like this band, maybe you'll like this band, etc., etc., etc. It's great to discover new shit. and, you know, embrace it, listen to it. You know, don't keep going back to the same music you listen to over and over again. You know, classics are great and all that, but it's always more fun to have something new, something fresh, something that you can tell your friends about. Hey, have you heard this band? That's the way it should be. Anyway, I'm Mike Alexander, and that is Today in Music.